When you work with Excel, have you encountered this type of problems? Like when you do an XLOOKUP, you look for this 14004 within column A, and we can see this 1404 is here. But somehow this XLOOKUP will give you NA, which means not available, which means this 1404 is not being found in that column A range. Or you may have some numbers and you're trying to add up those numbers. Here we're trying to use the sum function to sum the 569.87 with 13.34. When I enter this function, I get only 569.87. Apparently that 13.34 somehow is not being added. And this cannot be solved by using the trim function or the value function. None of those will do. Or you may have a table. In one column, you may have some blanks and some numbers, and you wish to sort it based on largest to smallest order. Now, if I do sort from largest to smallest, instead of having a number on top, I'm having the blanks on top. And you know, when you sort, blanks should be always placed at the bottom, not on top. And also, when I go further down after the numbers, we actually have some more blanks over here. Apparently, those are not really true blanks. If you don't know how to solve the problems yet, that means you do not have the understanding of the three different states of the cells. In this video, you will learn how to identify the causes of those issues by recognizing the three different states of the cells and come up with the right solution. And in this Excel worksheet, we'll have a range of cells having some contents. On the surface, that's what they look like. They have different appearance. Like this one has a euro currency in front. This has a dollar sign in the front. Those have some number like a date and time. But those are just what they appear. That's what we perceive on the surface. That's not really the true content in those cells. Now, if I double click into the first cell, that will allow us to go inside the cell. You see, inside the cell, we have this number with 10 decimals, but on the surface, we're only perceiving 5 decimals. And this over here, when I double click inside, I see the same number, and we don't really see that euro currency in the front. Also, this one, there's no dollar sign in the front either. So when you double click to go inside a cell, you're seeing the true contents of the cell. You're not seeing the appearance. You're not seeing the format, the look. You are seeing the true content. This means a cell, there are two different states. The first state is when you look at on the surface, which I call that as conscious state or the waking state. It's just like when we live our life every day, when we are awake, we can perceive everything around us. But what we perceive are not the true content. We're only perceiving the appearance, the format, the look. They're just perception. So that's the conscious state or the waking state of the cell. Now, if we double click to go inside the cell, I call this the subconscious state or the dreaming state. When we live our life, we go to bed in the evening and we fall asleep and we may have a dream. When we dream, we're not aware of the physical environment around us. We're only aware of what's happening inside our mind. So when we double click to go inside a cell, we're seeing what's truly happening inside. We're not seeing the form. We're not seeing the appearance. So this is the dream state or the subconscious state. Now, if I click on this date over here, when double click to go inside, you will see we also have the time over there beside the date. And also this one appear to be Sunday, December 2nd, 2029. When double click inside, they also have the same date in that way and with that time. Now, if I double click into this time of 10:55 p.m., you also see the same date over there. So now you may think, oh, the true content of all the three cells are just this date and time. No, that's not really the true content. Even though I said earlier, for those cells over there, if you double click to go inside, you will see the true content. But for those three cells over here, when you double click to go inside, you don't see the true content. You're still seeing the form, the appearance. You're seeing the mask. Think about in the subconscious. There are many different layers. You may have to peel many more layers to see truly what they are. In order to see what those dates truly are, let's go to the Home tab in the number group from this drop-down list. That will give you all the different formats you can have for the numbers. And those three cells, they are in the short date, non-date, and time format. But now I'm going to change them into the general format, which means no specific format, which means they will be as raw as they are as the true original value. Now, when I click on general, you see that's what they truly are. They're all just the same number. The same number as those numbers over here before. If I click on the other cell above over here, also change them to general, you will see that all the same number. What we saw before, they were only the appearance, the form. Now let me undo, so we can see the form, the format. This cell over here on the surface, just look at the same as the first cell over there, but it's different. When I now double click to go inside the cell, we see a formula, which is completely different from that appearance. So in this subconscious state or the dreaming state, the content can be completely different from what we see on the surface. I would say this subconscious state or the dreaming state of the cell is more essential than what we see on the surface, because that's what determines what you will see. When you have different formula, different value, you will get different result. What do we see in the cell in the dream state? What decide what they appear or what they manifest on the waking state? Think about when Martin Luther King said, "I have a dream," or when John F. Kennedy said, "We are going to send a man to the moon and return safely in a decade." When they say that, none of those are reality. You cannot perceive them in the reality, but they are in the dreaming state, that in the subconscious mind. They did eventually manifest as a reality, as what we can perceive from our five senses. And this dreaming state may not be happening in the evening when you go to bed. It could happen during the day because you could be daydreaming. Also, you could be having lucid dream. In the lucid dream, you're aware, you're awake, you're aware you're dreaming. So you are conjure up this dream. Or you could be in a meditation. In the meditation, you focus on the internal mind, but you're still a little bit aware of the outside surrounding. Or if you meditate so deep, you may not even aware what's happening around you. You're only aware of what's happening inside your mind. If we're able to change what's happening in our subconscious, we can change our reality. So in the cell, if we are able to change what's inside the cell in the dream state, you can change what the cell will appear on the waking state. Actually, besides those two states of the cells, there is a third state of the cell. If you look at those three cells over here, on the surface, they all appear to be blank, but actually, they may not be blank cell. If you look at the first cell from bottom, on the surface it's blank. When I double click to go inside, I still see blank, there's nothing inside. So this state is a blank cell. There's nothing on the surface, nothing inside. So for blank cell, we call this in a state of non-conscious or in the deep sleep state. When we are in deep sleep, we're not awake, we're not dreaming, we're not aware of anything, so it's like in a blank state of mind. We call this non-conscious state. Now, the second cell from bottom, on the surface, there's nothing. When double click to go inside, there's also nothing. So you may think this is also a blank cell. But no, this cell is not really blank. I'll come back here in 1 minute to prove to you this is not a blank cell. Now the third cell from bottom, on the surface, it appears to be blank. Now, if I double click to go inside, I see a formula over here. This formula returns a text string of blank, which is that double quotes, double quotes. So this cell clearly is not a blank cell. It has some content in it. So those are the three states of the cell. In the conscious state, which is a waking state, we see what's on the surface. In the subconscious state, or the dreaming state, which we see what's inside the cell by going deeper inside the cell. And the third state is a blank cell. There's nothing on the surface. There's nothing underneath either. When we double click inside, there's still nothing. So that's the third state being non-conscious or deep sleep state. Actually, besides those three states of the cells, there is a fourth state. The fourth state is not parallel to the three states. The fourth state is the essence of those cells. So what is the essence of those cells? The essence of the cell is the electrical current flowing underneath those cells. This electrical current is flowing underneath the entire sheet, under every single cell. From the waking state and dreaming state and the non-conscious state, we cannot truly tell what they are. Like this cell is blank, but that cell is not blank. But we couldn't tell by simply looking, by double clicking inside or look at the surface. That will not tell us what they truly are. But when we recognize the true essence of all the cells are the electrical current flowing underneath, then that means it is aware of whatever is happening in and on every single cell. So in the fourth state, I would call that the consciousness state, because that's the essence of those cells. It's just like in our human life. We can perceive from our five senses. We can also go inside to examine our subconscious in our mind. Fundamentally, we are this consciousness being aware of everything happening inside or outside. So the fourth state of the cells, which I would call the consciousness state. In this state, we're able to tell what those cells truly are. Now let me go to the fourth state worksheet. Here I have the number, which we saw earlier. Those two cells on the surface look the same. Even if I click inside for both of the cells, they look the same too. But the two cells are not the same. Because on the fourth state level, there are many functions we can use to help us to assess what those cells really are. There's a group of functions starting with the is. There's a function called isText, which has only one argument. So that function can assess this cell over here to tell you if this cell is a text or not. If it's a text, this function will give you true. If not, give you false. When enter, that gave me true, that means this is text, this is not number. But this cell here, when do this isText function, that gave me false. That means that cell is not a text, and actually it's a number. There's also a function called isNumber. I can use this isNumber function to assess that cell over there. If that cell is number, this will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. Now when enter, I get false. That means that cell is not number, because that cell is text, as we have proved earlier here with that isText function. And the second cell over here, when you use that isNumber function to assess that gave me true. That means this is a number. So you cannot simply by looking on the surface or double click to go inside to see what the cell really is. You may have to use this function called isText or isNumber to tell you what the cell really is. And like this over here, has just a number over there, but this cell down here has a formula. So on the surface it looks the same, but when you go inside, you know they're different. And we can tell without double click by using a function called isFormula. The isFormula function has only one argument. It's assessing that argument to see if that is a formula or not. So this is not a formula, that give me false, and this one is a formula that give me true. And here we have 4 cells with the value of true, false, true, false. They appear to be just text. But actually, no, they're not really just text. Those 2 are actual text. Those 2 are logical values. So logical value has only 2 values, which are true and false, which can be used in many different ways within Excel formula, especially the array formula when you use a Boolean logic. We can tell if the cell is a text or not by using that isText function. This gives us true, meaning that is text. I can also use a function called isLogical to assess if this cell is a logical value. If that is, that will give me true, otherwise give me false. So those 2 cells are not logical value, but those 2 cells over here, they are truly logical values, and they're not text. Now, this will have fundamental impact when you are doing formulas, especially array formula by using Boolean logic. So just give you a little bit sense how they're different. So if I take this true times this false, I want to enter, I get the value error, because you cannot take one text multiply another text. But now if I take this true times this false, and those 2 are logical value, when enter, I get a 0, because in Boolean logic, true is 1, false is 0. So when you use the logical value true times logical value false, it's the same as 1 times 0. That's why we're getting 0. Here we have 3 cells. On the surface, they're all blank. They don't have anything. But actually, when you look inside, you will see they're not the same. Some of them are not truly blank. Like the first over here, we have a formula inside. So there is a function called isBlank, which has only one argument. It can assess that cell to tell you if that's blank or not. Since it has a formula in it, for sure it's not blank. That's why the formula gives me false, it's not blank. And the second cell over here, when double click inside, I don't see anything. You may think it's blank, but when I do this isBlank function against that, they tell me false, which means this cell not blank. And this cell down below, both outside or inside, don't seem to have anything. When you use this isBlank function, that gave me true, that means this cell is truly blank. You see, we don't have to double click to go inside to see what they are. We can just use the function to assess what they are by using the isBlank, isText, isLogical, isFormula, isNumber. We can tell they are. And some of those, even if you click inside, you can still couldn't tell what they are. So it's only in the 4th state level we're able to identify what those cells truly are. And now you may wonder, those cells, the true essence of the cell are the electrical current flowing underneath. But how come you can use this cell to assess what that cell is? You need to know that that essence exists not only in each and every one of the cells. The essence exists in the entire worksheet. The essence exists in the entire Excel workbook. The essence exists in the entire computer. Every cell is connected. That's why we're able to do the formula here to assess the other cell to tell us what that cell is. Because they're all connected. They all have the same electrical current flowing through that. Just as our human life. Each person is individual, but the essence of each person is the same. is that consciousness flowing underneath in each and every one of us. So each and every one of us is connected through this consciousness. That's the essence of who we are. Just as in the Excel, every cell is connected through that fourth state, because underneath every single cell, it's the same electrical current flowing through. Working with Excel, if you want to be an advanced Excel user, you have to go beyond the initial three states of the cells: the waking state, the dreaming state, the deep sleep state, or the conscious state, the subconscious state, the non-conscious state. You have to reach the fourth state, knowing the true essence of the cell or the electrical current flowing underneath. Then you can use the is type of function to assess the identity of those cells, but knowing those are just the roles they play. Similar in our human life, we have to go beyond the initial three states: the waking state, the dreaming state, the deep sleep state, or the conscious state, the subconscious state, the non-conscious state. We have to reach the fourth state, which is the consciousness state. We are aware of the identity of the people around us, but knowing those are just the roles they play. They are not the essence of who they are. So we are in the world, but not of the world. When we use Excel, those values are in the cell, but not of the cell. With this level of understanding, we can live our life with more joy and meaning, and we can use Excel with more effectiveness and more efficiency. In terms of the problem I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I have one video to show you how to look up text and number. I also have a video to show you how to look up number and text. And I have a video explaining to you how to look up both number and text in one single formula. For the problem of the number cannot be summed, I also have a video to show you exactly how to solve that problem. And for the blanks not being true blanks, I also have a video to show you how to solve that problem quickly. I will put the link of those videos in the description below. If you find this video valuable, please give it a thumb up and subscribe to my channel, and I will create more Excel video from this perspective. Thank you.